what's the first thing I could do? If I say the slope at x equal 2, I should probably go ahead and make up what?
A point.
A point for where I'm at, right? And so that would be the point 2 what? 5. Do I have to give you the y value?
No.
Do you panic because I didn't give you the y value?
No.
No, you figured it out because you know the equation. Okay? So if this is the point, m is equal to what? Tell me in words what m is.
This,
There's a lot of different ways to say it. Rise over 1 is one way. What's another way you could say it?
y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
And what's a little bit more mature way to write that?
F of x2 minus f x1 over x2 minus x1.
So everybody understands everything at this point, right?
yes.
And what if my point is just a little tiny amount away where we say like delta x is equal to h, and h is just a really, really small number, okay? How would I write this then? x2 is f of what? This is x,
Plus
and this is what?
h.
This is x plus h, right? X plus h. What's this point?
X.
No, that's f of,
x. Okay.
and what's this?
F of x plus h.
Okay. This is not new, right? Okay. So this is f of what?
X plus h.
Minus over x plus h
Plus x.
minus what?
X.
Minus x. So what do I have? This is equal to f of x plus h minus f of x over h. And h is the what? H is the tiny distance between the 2
So
points.
is that delta x? or-
Yeah, h is like delta x, okay? We're just writing it as h though, okay? We're writing it as h. H and delta x are the same thing. We're writing it as h though. Does this make sense?
Yep.
All right. Now, what do we know in Excel about accuracy of the answer?
Pretty accurate as long as the
It's
box.
pretty accurate. What if h is 2 million? Is it going to be accurate? No. So tell me something about relative accuracy.
As your delta x.
So we're not talking about delta x, we're talking about what?
H.
H. Is h
As
what?
h gets smaller or gets closer and closer to 0, the answer that you get in Excel gets more and more accurate.
The closer h gets to 0, the closer Excel gives you the what? The perfect answer. Okay. Now, so in Excel, can you ever get the perfect answer?
No.
No. So what, at this point, we've just been approximating, and we've been getting really, really, really good approximations because we're letting h get really, really, really what?
Small.
So how could I get the perfect answer?
By taking the limit.
As x, as h goes to what?
0.
Not x goes to 0, but what goes to 0?
H.
And if I take the limit as h goes to 0, I get the what?
Perfect
The
answer.
perfect answer.
Is that
You
how
can't
do it?
do that in Excel. You cannot do that in Excel. Well, let's think about it. Is that how I do it? I don't know. Let's think about that. Okay, so let's say, so we're going to say m is equal to f of x plus h minus f of x over x plus h minus x is just h. And then you said to get the perfect one, you want h to do what? You want to take the limit as what? H
As
goes to
0.
of f of what?
F of x plus h.
Minus what?
F of h. Or f of x.
Over what?
H.
Okay. Are you taking notes? You probably need to, because this is not something you're going to be able to.
But then, so it can't ever reach 0.
But it doesn't matter. I'm taking the limit. And
Why
when I
not?
take
I'm
the
just
limit,
saying because of the
Okay.
bottom.
Yeah,
You just
right.
have to remember
But
that.
does the limit as x approaches a of c exactly equal c? Yes, it does.
Yes.
The limit as x approaches a, when you take the limit, you get the answer. When you take this, these are all exact. Nothing over here is an approximation. They're all
so
exact.
okay, I see what
We're going to go use all of our exact rules, and therefore we're going to get the exact answer. Okay. What you have to see is this is the starting point for every problem. This is always true. You don't monkey with this. This is where you start. That is always true. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if I have y is equal to x squared plus 1, and I want the exact slope at x equal 2, how would I find the exact slope? Where do I start, Emily?
With that equation,
So what should I write down?
the limit as h goes to 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x over h.
Okay. Now, why did you make me happy? Because you started here. You didn't start by trying to plug things in. You started by what?
At the very beginning.
Right, you write that. And why do you write that every time on your homework? Because you'll remember. So we always start with there. You include that. Okay, so what are we going to call this? We need to call this something. And so what we're going to say is m is equal to f prime of x. Okay, so what we're doing is we're doing f prime of x. Okay, what is f prime of x is a better way to write m. So just know that m is f prime of x. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Let's just do it, right? I'm just telling you. Remember, in algebra, we call it m. We're not going to call it m anymore because m is like one number, and it's not one number, it's a function. What's the function? F prime of x. It's the slope function. All right? Okay. So now, Noah, what would you do? F prime of x is equal to what?
The limit as h goes to 0 of f of 2 plus h.
No, you don't put, we're not nowhere even near the 2 yet.
Okay, so then you would start splitting it up then. So f of x plus h.
I know f of x plus h, we got that. So what do I write down? Do I know what f of x is?
Oh, yes,
What is f of x?
5.
No, not at all. F of x is what? How did I get that curve there to begin with?
Graph. Oh, f of x is x squared plus 1.
Yes. So you see, don't be fooled by that. What? F of x is equal to what? X squared plus 1. All right? So, what is f of x plus h? Will?
X squared plus 1 plus h. Oh,
Oh,
no, because it's
what do I put in for x? Okay. If I have f of x is equal to 6x, what is f of 1?
6 times 1
6 times 1. I take this and I put it where?
there.
Okay. What is f of a plus b?
6 times a plus b.
6 times a plus b. Okay. So, what is f of x plus h?
X plus h squared plus 1.
X plus h squared plus 1. Okay. Now I need to what? Minus, and because this is a minus, I better put in some whats?
Since
Some parentheses. Minus what?
x squared plus 1.
X squared plus 1. Okay. Because it's f of x. What is f of x? Okay, and all this is over what?
H.
H. All right. Is there anything here that is new?
No.
You're just using what? Stuff you already know. Now, am I ready to jump in and take that limit?
No.
No, because I don't have any rules over there for any of this stuff. I need to do what?
Start
What do we always say? I need to do what?
algebra.
Algebra before calculus. So I better do a whole bunch of what?
Algebra.
Right, stuff in there. F prime of x is equal to the limit as h goes to 0. What can I do inside of here, Chase? What do you think would be a good thing to do?
You can
Say it.
do the, fix the x squared plus 1 or minus 1. Or do you want to or do you want to factor that out?
Well, you want to multiply.
There we
that.
go, multiply.
So what would that be, Chase?
X squared plus 2xh
Mm-hmm.
plus h.
Plus what?
Is that not h?
That's an h, but what do I do with it?
H squared
H squared, and then what?
plus 1
And then what?
minus x.
Plus 1 minus x squared, yeah? And?
Do you want me to figure that out, or do you just want me to write as usual?
Well, I'm taking the parentheses out, so it's what? Minus x squared. So you've multiplied that out.
Yes.
X squared plus 2xh plus h squared.
But do you want me to leave it as x squared plus 1, or do you want and distribute that in another step, or do you want me to do it right now?
Well, all you can do is you can put it minus x squared and what? Minus 1.
To the negative.
So you're just distributing that negative.
Gotcha.
Okay? And then all of that is over what?
H.
Okay. So Franklin, what would you do now?
Take the H's out.
Take
Question.
the h's out.
Question.
Yes.
Why would you split it apart now?
Why would I split what
Why
apart?
wouldn't we?
I didn't split anything
Or
apart.
why would you?
You gotta drop
Why
some
would you
terms
end up
first.
distributing it now? Why wouldn't
I didn't-
you
What did I distribute?
not distribute? Why would you do all that algebra whenever it's simpler if you use the rules over here?
You can't use the rules because I don't have the limit as h goes to 0 of x plus h squared over h. That's not a rule.
But you could
I can
take
what?
off. There is a rule where whatever's on top divided whatever's on the bottom is the limit of what's
Okay,
on top.
and then I'm doing a bunch of limits that would. I always do what?
Algebra before calculus.
Yeah, I always do algebra before calculus. And what you're saying, you might get the right answer, but it's going to be hugely more complicated. Always do algebra before calculus until you can't do any more simplification. So now up here, Franklin, what do I call that? No, I don't want to. I do what up there?
X and Y.
Meet it. Meet it.
Get the X and the ones.
What's that called?
Combine like terms.
Combine like terms. So what do I have, Franklin?
Have two, wait, no,
Or just talk it out. What's one thing that's going to happen?
the x squared or
They're going to go away. And what else is going to happen?
2xh plus.
No, the 1 and the 1 go away.
Yes,
So what am I left with up here?
2xh plus h squared over h.
All right.
Now question, do we have to write the f prime of x every time?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
For every step, I can't
Yes.
write it at the beginning,
No.
just put equals all the way down?
Because at one point, and also, you keep writing limit until you what?
Take the limit.
Until you take the limit, and then you don't what?
Right limit.
Write the limit. Okay. So now at this point, Emily, what would you do?
Separate it into the limits.
No, I can do some more algebra. Will, what can I do?
Take out
And what do we call taking out? We call it whatting? Factoring?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have h onto what?
2x plus h.
Over what?
1.
Over what?
No, h.
Over h. Now, I've got to come over here. Now, Chase, what can I do? Do you see anything jump out at you here?
The H and H.
So that becomes what?
1,
So now what am I left with?
2x plus H.
Oh, all of a sudden this starts looking very what? Very easy. So now what do I do now, Noah?
Now you would take the limit to f prime of x equals the limit as h goes to 0 of 2x plus the limit as h goes to 0 of h.
Okay. And I don't try to do a bunch of steps. You did how many steps? One step based on what? One rule. What is the next step that you could do, Davis?
Oh, you bring the 2 out in front of
Yeah,
the
because one step, one rule. So now what are you going to say, Davis?
f prime of x equals 2 onto the limit as h goes to 0 of x plus the limit as h goes to 0 of h.
Okay. What is the limit as h goes to 0 of x?
0.
It's 0? Is it really?
As yes.
Should be,
Oh, never mind. It'd be x. No.
should be 1.
Well, let's see.
Oh wait.
What's
yeah,
the limit as h goes to
My bad.
0 of x is always what?
X. Sorry. The
Okay.
h is and the x is on the other thing you're confusing.
Let's see.
Because h.
The
counts
limit
as
is
x.
h goes to 0. Yeah, what you have to see is that and that are different. That and that are different. So it's really, it's more like the first one, right?
Yeah. So it's x.
Okay, so that is going to be equal to 2 times what?
F.
Okay, so the limit as h goes to 0 of x is what?
X.
X. That's the key thing. Does everybody see that? Okay, the limit as h goes to 0 of x is just what? X.
So this is how we find this slope at
What?
that.
Don't think about that yet. Let's finish the problem. What's the limit as h goes to 0 of h?
0
Okay, so this is what?
plus
Plus 0. So the f prime of x is equal to what? 2x. And f prime of x is to which function? The function of the
slope.
slope. So is the slope the same everywhere?
Yeah.
No, the slope is not the same everywhere. Okay, the slope is not the same everywhere. So what is the slope at what point did I want? I wanted to, yeah, at 2.
So
The
it'd be
slope
4
at 2 is equal to what? F prime of
2
2 is equal to 2 times
2.
2.
That's
So F prime of 2 is equal to
4.
4. Slope is 4. So do you still think I can do this in my head?
No.
Okay. I can't. So what was the hard thing? The limit as h goes to 0 of x, x is not a function of h. So it's just what? It's x. X doesn't care what h is. Does that make sense? Okay. F prime of x is called the derivative. It is called the derivative. It is the slope function. It is the slope function. Okay? So what would the slope be at 4?
Eight.
It'd be 8.
Right.
Because you have this. Now, do you see that we got the exact answer and we did not use what?
Excel.
We did not use Excel. Okay, we did not use Excel. All right, you have one problem tonight, which means you better be very, 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 very what?
Careful.
Okay. F of x is equal to 3x squared plus 5. Okay. Use Excel to find the slope at x equals 0, x equal 1, x equal 2, x equal 3. Doing it in Excel, how are we solving this? We call this what?
Numerically.
Numerically. Okay. Then use limits to find f prime of x is equal to what, right? And then find f prime of 0, f prime of 1, f prime of 2, and f prime of 3. Okay? So the answer should be very close, but what's going to be the right answer?
The F prime.
The f primes. But you have to find f prime of x. And then once you have f prime of x, the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is really easy. Does that make sense? Put in every step, do it neatly. Okay, put in every step and do it neatly.
So on the answer sheet, do you want us to,
Excel, you know,
for
you would,
the one Excel, we can say, like,
at Excel, you could just say as x approaches 0, the slope approaches something. As x approaches 1, the slope approaches something. As x approaches 2, the slope approaches something. At x equal 3, the slope approaches 3. But on the next part where you do it algebraically, you can put an equal sign in there because the slope equals the answer, not approaches the answer.
but on the answer sheet, do we just put 1 as in the little box to tell you what question it is, since this is all one
Well,
question?
what you can just say is, in an answer box, f prime of 0 equals something, f prime of 1 equals something.
I get that, but what I'm asking is, you know, like the little box where you put the number.
There's not a number. Okay, so
Just leave it blank.
So I should have the 3 Excel answers. Then how many, or I should have the 4 Excel answers. How many answers will this one have? 5, because I also
Okay,
have the
that's
function
right.
itself. Okay? All right. That's it.